Today SpaceX revealed the future of Starship. Blue Origin's New Glenn finally did something, and the Chinese rocket maker is gearing up for another year of catching up. SpaceX is about to do something with their Starship rocket that we have never seen before, with the vehicle's 7th test flight coming this weekend. SpaceX has finally revealed details about their plans to transition Starship from testing phase to active duty. The next major milestone in that journey will be deploying a payload into space for the first time. SpaceX will be loading Starship with a Starlink simulator. They are referring to an object similar in size and weight to the company's new V communications satellites. According to early reports, Starlink 5 will weigh less than a metric ton, or 1,000 kilograms to be more precise, which is significantly heavier than the current Starlink V Mini, which weighs just over half a ton. This is significantly heavier than the original Starlink satellites. We can see that happening in the reduced capacity of the Falcon rocket, which can carry about 2,000 cc of the original Starlink to orbit in a single go, which is currently reduced to 2,000 cc of V Mini per launch. Starship is expected to carry as many as V Long Stars per launch when fully operational, which will be a payload weight of over a metric ton. But for the next test flight, the group of simulators should weigh less than a ton, and they will be deployed into space using a new PEZ dispenser mechanism, which is like a little catapult that propels them out through a slot in the back of the ship's body. Now, why is SpaceX using dummy satellites instead of real ones? I think the main reason is that this will be another suborbital test flight, meaning that the payloads deployed by Starship will spend a relatively short time in space before falling back to Earth alongside the ship itself. They will all fall into the Indian Ocean off the northwest coast of Australia. And that brings us to the ship itself, which will deploy these new payloads. The first of the Starship design blocks. And we know a lot more now than ever before about this new type of rocket. There are some major changes to this ship, which are quite visible and well known at this point, such as a smaller nose cowl, which has improved aerodynamic design to survive re-entry, and an increased length to accommodate 10% more propellant volume. But SpaceX has just revealed a new collection of Starship Block upgrades and experiments, the most interesting of which is the addition of a single actively cooled metallic heat shield tile, part of what SpaceX is calling an alternative materials test, to protect Starship during re-entry. Active cooling heat shield is something that Elon Musk has talked about for a long time. During an interview with Popular Mechanics, Elon described this concept by saying, quote, "You basically just take a stainless steel sandwich, you run fuel or water between the sandwich layers, and then you have very small perforations on the outside, and you basically let the water or fuel out through them to cool the windward side of the rocket." If that sounds familiar, it probably is because SpaceX used a nearly identical concept to build the shower flame diversion system that has been used under Starship for every launch since test flight number 2. So imagine if you just scaled that down to a Starship heat shield tile that is about the size of a dinner plate. And that is what SpaceX will be testing on the next mission, which will be a very significant departure from the existing ceramic tile design, which is much simpler and in line with the minimalist philosophy of Starship. But it is also possible that the glass silica tiles will not be sturdy enough for rapid reuse, so the company is exploring their options. A liquid-cooled steel sandwich heat shield may be the future of Starship. Moving down through the list of new upgrades, SpaceX is also implementing vacuum-jacketed fuel lines on the Block ship. So imagine a pipe inside a pipe, and there is a small gap between the two. That gap is then filled with vacuum, which means there is nothing between the pipes, not even air. This eliminates 2 of the 3 types of heat transfer: conduction and convection, leaving radiation, which is the least efficient form of heat transfer. This means that the super cold fuel inside the pipes will stay cooler, and that will make the whole propulsion system more efficient. The flight control block has been upgraded with a flight computer, megawatts of power across the ship's high-voltage actuators, which is a greater power output than one of those giant Tesla MEEP battery pack system, and driving the electric motors. There will be cameras on board streaming up to megabits per second of video over Starlink, so we should get some more amazing views this time around. And in a major milestone for Starship reusability, there will be a previously flown Raptor engine that is used on the Super Heavy booster. So if you remember back in October, SpaceX managed to catch the Starship booster stage with their chopstick arm. The whole point of doing that was to make it easier to reuse the rocket over and over again. Obviously the booster itself was in pretty rough shape on the way back down. There was a lot of fire involved, so it can't all be reclaimed, but SpaceX has taken the best engine from that rocket and put it on the new one.